Hi, my name is Andrea, and my team Valeria and Samantha, we will talk about a news timeline of present key events in chronological order, highlighting significant developments in news over time. Well, it helps track and understand the progression of major stories. Let's continue.
Before the existence of newspapers, the transmission of news was slow and limited. In ancient societies, news was primarily shared orally through messengers or travelers who carried information from one place to another. Public announcements and edicts were proclaimed in town squares or markets, and rulers relied on heralds to communicate important decisions. During the Middle Ages, handwritten manuscripts and letters were the main methods for sharing news among the elites, but access to information from general public was almost non-existent. The invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg in the 15th century radically changed the way news was transmitted. Printing made it possible to distribute pamphlets and broadsheets, which were the precursor to newspapers, reaching more people with political or religious news. However, it wasn't until the 17th century that the first regular newspapers began to appear in Europe, serving as a way to inform society about local and international events. Since then, the way we receive news has continued to evolve through technological advances, from the telegraph to today's digital era, revolutionizing the speed and reach of information.
The first journalistic product was the Acta Dura, a news sheet that was published weekly in ancient Rome from the year 59 before Christ. Then the printing press and the literacy of society appeared, which allowed the appearance of newspapers, which were newsletters printed periodically. And now the newspaper format that is used today emerged formally after the invention of the printing press in 1440, which allowed the mass production of printed documents. The first printed journalistic publication was made in Vienna in 1529 and consists of a sheet that includes various news items.
The evolution of transmissions from the 1800s to today highlights major technological advancements that have transformed how people receive information. In the early 19th century, newspapers were the main source of news, but the process was slow. The invention of the telegraph in the mid-1800s revolutionized news delivery, allowing information to be transmitted quickly over long distances. By the early 20th century, radio became the primary medium, bringing real-time news to homes, especially during major global events like the Second World War. Television followed in the 1950s, combining audio and visual to create a more impactful way of reporting news, with the 24-hour news cycle, becoming popular in the 1980s. The most dramatic shift came with the rise of the Internet in the late 20th century, democratizing news and allowing it to spread globally in real time. The advent of social media platforms in the 2000s further accelerated the speed at which news travels, turning individuals into news broadcasters and created a phenomenon of citizen journalism. Today, smartphones, apps, and live streaming keep people constantly updated with instant news.
Impact: increased accessibility and speed news, diversification of news sources and perspectives, shift of traditional media to digital platform, and changing role of journalists and new consumers. Well, this evolution has transformed the way we consume and interact with news, with significant implications for society, politics, and culture.